In this video, I want to take a look back at a testimonial video, actually an interview between a very good friend of mine, Peter Sage, and a client, Brian. And I want to do a review of it because it always makes me smile, it makes me very proud. And Brian's such a great guy, and it was so good to hear the things that he had to say. He's always worked on the building trade, had a very, very good job, still has a very, very good job. What he does, his life's very, very cool. He lives abroad, travels around, but then he goes back to the UK and works as a site manager on the big building sites all over the UK. Gets paid very well for a few months, maybe 3 months, maybe 6 months, keeps the money, and then goes back over to Spain or France or wherever and travels around. And so, yeah, that's Brian. So watch this clip.
I work in construction, and it always seemed like normal in construction. Friday, Saturday, Sundays, you finish early on a Friday, you go to alcohol. Saturday, the boys out alcohol. And that just tends to be it. And it comes into you in the workplace as a thing. And when I was in that workplace from 16, it just was normal all of my life, including with my family and stuff. And then it just spiraled, but it felt comfortable, and I could make the excuses to justify it for years, until it got too far, and then the excuses weren't enough anymore. But I couldn't not do it anymore, so the excuse didn't justify it, but I couldn't stop it.
So now you're into an addiction,
exactly,
rather than
now
a habit.
I'm stuck. So yeah, that's where it was, and it was just desperation, and I could not find a way out.
So what started off as probably just a harmless, sociable event of going for a few drinks slowly became a habit, and then eventually became an addiction. And this is where the real problem began.
It was getting bad generally, but I could manage it and I could cope, and it was fine. And then it just dipped, and that was it, and I could not get back out. And that was when it really started damaging things. And it damaged even just every day got shorter for a start. Like the hours of the day was less every day. So everything was affected negatively. I can try and pretend it was just a lot of things or a few things, but it was almost certainly everything was negatively affected by shorter days, just clouded mind, mentality, everything really. Nothing was 100%.
So this was in relation to all the travelling around, because like I said, Brian actually has two kind of lives. He has one where he works 12-hour days at home, sometimes 7 days a week, and then left to his own devices when he's travelling around. And this is when you don't have the responsibilities, therefore you just do whatever. And this is what was happening. Basically drinking, not just the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, which would be normal when you're working construction perhaps for these kind of problems, but instead it rolls into Monday, Tuesday, all the way through to Sunday, and then everything gets mixed up. Very interesting the way he says things became clouded, because I hear this so many times. You hear this from people with all sorts of things. It could be gambling, it could be smoking, it could be drugs, it could even be anxiety, where everything's clouded and the judgment's gone and nothing feels real. People always say to me that, and I've noticed as well in people a lot, friends, and sometimes I'm not in a position to help everybody. Obviously you have to be careful, but people live in what we call a delay, for all sorts of reasons, particularly anxiety. So they're doing something. Let's say, for example, they're playing with the children and something funny happens, but they don't laugh. And then 5 seconds later, they do laugh because they're not in the moment. They're somewhere else. They're clouded, and I find this very sad. But it's great that you can get rid of it. This is the positive side of it. When Brian came across me, first of all, he was very funny actually, because he's a typical man's man, and he was very skeptical. This isn't going to work. He was very frank. He said, this isn't going to work. You're not going to be able to help me, but you know, I'll give it a go because I've tried everything else. And as you'll see, you know, he's read all the books, literally could tell you more about the books than I could.
I tried all of the books, every one of the books, and they did resonate with us, but they don't make you just stop. They tell you what your problems are, and you say, I can associate with all of those, and I can see all of this, and it all makes sense to me, but I can't just stop still. You might be able to stop for a day or two, but the books alone, the Alan Carr books and all the other books, they do work, but they don't last. I couldn't find they last, because while I was somehow like 2 weeks later, a week later, out and about, somebody saying, do you want to go for a drink? Well then, yeah, let's go for
Environment beats
a drink.
will.
Yeah, exactly.
Environment beats will, and this is so true with everything. You know, people come and say to me, oh, what's a great way to stop smoking? What's a great way to stop doing drugs? What a great way. And I say, well, what's your lifestyle like? Who are you hanging around with? You know, people will say, oh, I'm working in a nightclub and I'm doing drugs every single night. Well, where are you getting the drugs from? I'm getting drugs from the people that I work with. Well, are you going to stop working there? No. This is a problem. Are you going to stop hanging around with the people that are constantly giving you cigarettes, at least for the time period you need to stop smoking? No. It's going to be more difficult. It's possible, but more difficult. And the same with drinking, the same with anxiety. You're going to continue to hang around negative people, negative places. I often tell people to move furniture around in their house to break the triggers, break the feeling, make a change, you know, change the environment one way or another. And this is a big issue. If you can't change the environment, it's very hard to change those patterns in your subconscious mind because you've built those patterns, you know, whatever the patterns are, negative or positive, beneficial or not, you've built them by doing something on repeat again and again and again and again. So your subconscious mind says, okay, you want to do that, so we'll make it easy for you to do it. We'll just do it automatically. And that's it. You've got a negative pattern, drinking, smoking, drugs, gambling, whatever it is, it's a program. And they're the hardest things to break. That's where hypnotherapy is so good because it gets straight in there and it changes everything.
And just in one session, you went off alcohol completely and you've never gone back?
No, not once.
That was a year and a half ago?
Yes, not again.
Right. And there was no craving, it was just a shift in the mindset based on that session?
It was as if it had never existed.
Wow.
Which, it sounds like mumbo jumbo to me, but it was as if it never existed.
Fantastic.
So it is very strange.
Outstanding. And what's life been like since then?
It's a different life now. I mean, I've thought about this before. I would say, whether it's causation or correlation, without a shadow of a doubt, my earnings has gone up. As I am now never drunk, etc. My annual earnings have increased. That's a fact. Physically better, mentally better. My life, instead of Friday, Saturday being alcohol related, I might be doing mountain runs or other physical activities really, or anything. I'm never hungover on a Saturday morning. Saturday morning, Sunday mornings, these are enjoyable times now rather than dead time. So again, yeah, the longer days, more things you can do, more it creates opportunities.
It always makes me smile when I hear a client say something like that, like it's very strange, Brian said. People used to always, when I used to help people with phobias and fears particularly, and I'd quite often have them bring their partner with them, and the partner would say to them, so let's say it's about flying, they'd say, well, how do you feel about flying? You know, how do you feel about aeroplanes now? And the client would be like almost searching around. You could see their eyes dotting about because their eyes are searching their subconscious mind for a feeling. It feels so strange because it's gone, but then there's no aeroplane around, so has it really gone? And then it's almost like, you know, when you lose something and you look in your trouser pocket or your handbag or whatever it is, and then 10 minutes later you look again and you know it's not in there, but you cannot help yourself look in there. This is what it's like. People are searching their mind thinking it's got to be somewhere, it's got to be somewhere. And other people say, oh no, don't search for it too much because you might find it. It's not there, it's gone. It's gone, but well, I don't need to say that. I just relax, let them go through the motions, and eventually I'll get a message, usually from an aeroplane, saying, oh my God, I'm on an aeroplane, it's great. I've never felt like this before. So this does make me smile. Brian now, you know, since this, incredible. He's one of these people, he's a fitness fanatic, but he hates running. Not very good at running. Not very fast. So he can run just like anybody else, but he's not very quick. But enters every single running race possible. Here's some photographs so you can have a look. His discipline for the gym and his running career, shall we call it. It's incredible. People really don't know what they're missing out on, because when you start to give up these things that are hindering you, you can do anything. You're capable of being the person that you want to be, taking control of your life, being more successful in relationships, more successful in your health, more successful with finances, whatever that floats your boat, even a new boat, whatever it is that's out there that you haven't even experienced, you haven't even found, traveling, whatever it is, these vices, they stop you from even contemplating anything like that, let alone doing these things. And people all over the world are really missing out. But now it's time to spread the word and these people can have a fresh start and stop missing out.
This is the me I should have been originally.
Wow.
Does that make sense?
You can't really put a price on that.
No.
The next part's kind of a scary part, because a lot of people focus on how good things are going to be when they behave a certain way, when they change something, how good things are going to be. What am I going to look like? What am I going to own? Who am I going to be with? Where am I going to be? And this is great, don't get me wrong. But the other thing that definitely should be done is focusing on where will you be if you don't make the change? Where will you be if you don't stop yourself from doing whatever it is you shouldn't be doing as soon as possible, turning that corner and changing your life? Picture where you'll be. And that's the scary part. But this is the truth. And when you see that, you definitely don't want that. Then you can flip to the other and really embrace who you're going to be, because you're already that person. It's just waiting for you to turn up.
To be honest, the bottom, I was very much at the bottom, so I didn't know if there was a continuation of my existence, to be honest. It was pretty hardcore. Things like hospital visits with blood pressure machine alarms going off, like it was.
So it really was almost life and death.
Yeah, it was. There wasn't many options left after this, to be honest. So yeah, it was good.
So there you have it. I love that video. I love Brian. I love Peter as well, very good friend of mine. And it's amazing for him to share the story. Doing my job, I help people all the time. I receive a lot of messages, a lot of love all the time through my life. I'm very fortunate. But it's very difficult for people to make videos. It's very difficult for people to agree to talk about something that they didn't like about themselves, because it's gone. If you were to say to someone, I want you to make a video when I make you better, everybody will say yes. But when it comes down to it, it's gone. They think, oh no, I'd rather not now, because now they're not that person. It's gone. But Brian, he wants to share what happened, because, like I told you, he didn't think it was going to work. He was completely skeptical. You know, I don't believe in all this. I've read all the books. Nothing works for me. He couldn't have been much more negative, to be honest. But that was the control alcohol script, which I've used for years. All my scripts are very, they're very similar. They're designed in a particular way to get straight to the point, to really get to the issue and get it gone and get you to feel better instantly. This is what it's all about. None of this 50 sessions. I've met people who go on sessions every week for years, and they don't get anywhere. They say, do you feel any better? Yeah, I feel relaxed. But do you feel better? No. It's like, what's going on? Are you still drinking? Yes. Are you still scared of planes? Yes. It's like you've got to get in, and whatever it is, change it up and get it gone. And this is the way to do it. It's straight into the subconscious mind. Without going into too much detail, because this is in other videos, you've got a conscious mind, a subconscious mind. The only reason why you can't change things yourself all the time, sometimes you can, is because your conscious mind stops anything coming to the subconscious mind, where all your memories, your beliefs, your experiences, it won't let anything in there change. It won't let, you're scared of aeroplanes, that's it. We're scared of aeroplanes. We need to be scared of aeroplanes. This conscious mind, we need to be scared of aeroplanes. We're scared for a reason. We must be. So we've got to keep it. With hypnosis, we put the conscious mind to sleep. Whew, gone. And then we're in, moving things around. Forget about aeroplanes. You're not scared of them, really. Forget about drinking. You don't need drinking. Forget about smoking. You don't need smoking, whatever it is. Obviously, when you give up drinking, there's certain ways you have to do it. You have to be very careful, and these are all things to take into consideration, and always see a doctor when it comes to things like drugs and drinking, even smoking. You've got to be careful. But this is the surefire way to get help. If you're looking for some help, hypnotherapy, without a shadow of a doubt, is so powerful because of what I've just told you. It's incredible. It's incredible. I'll always be enthusiastic about it because people can get help instantly. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. I've been rambling. I've enjoyed making this video. I love this. I love all this. It really, this is what gives me the power and makes me happy, talking about these things. So if you've enjoyed it, please subscribe, put your notifications on so that you can see the next video coming out, and share it with a friend. And I will see you in the next video.